Hi everyone, hi subscribers, it's Sloan Rhodes here with your Spiritual Self-Mastery class, Ego and Heart, for the week of February 4th, 2019. Today I'm using the Earth Magic deck by Stephen Farmer. And here we go. And as I do every week, I'll be pulling one card and we'll be exploring the ego and the heart-centered energies for that card for the week. And then one card what we can expect or look forward to regardless. Just to remind you all that these YouTube videos are all available on the audio podcast as well, so you can listen to them as well as watch them here on the YouTube channel. And there are links below. And I am going through the questions for my next Q&A video, so if you have any questions about spirituality, ego, the egoic energy, the heart-centered energies, anything to do with spirituality, spiritual awakening, I am still going through the questions for that. And what else do I want to say? I think that's it. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so we have ancestors, generations, we have rainbow blessings, and we have under the deck iceberg submerged. Okay, so we have, this is the main card for the week, ancestors, generations, and then what we can expect to look forward to is rainbow blessings. Well, I love this rainbow card because we've had a lot of rain here in Santa Barbara, and I love, it's nice to, as we look at this week, what we can expect to look forward to regardless is this idea of something beautiful coming out of this, the stormier energy. So it's really, really nice to see. But here we have ancestors and generations as the overarching theme for the week. Now, as I kind of feel it here, it looks like there is a focus this week on, obviously, familial connections that are very deep and very entwined, but they are transforming. Now, the egoic energy, when it attaches to our family, to our heritage, to our ancestors and generations, it can become very hyper-identified with what is supposed to be, what our family stands for, where I don't measure up in terms of my family, where my family holds things that I'm not able to access, or where I'm being judged or seemingly judged by my family, or where I'm judging my family, or where I am doing better than my family. The ego is always thriving in that world of comparison. Something is always either better or worse than, and depending upon where you're at with the egoic energies in that moment, you are either celebrating your superiority to your family, or you are in that heavier energy of feeling bogged down with sadness and grief, or feelings of lack around your family. So it depends on how it comes in here. But one of the really wonderful ways that you can begin to bring more consciousness to how your ego is perceiving your ancestors, the generations, is to first and foremost recognize where you are able to look at yourself as a separate entity from the family structure and the family paradigm that you have been raised within. Even asking the questions, how am I an individual in this experience? How am I able to express my own essence within the structure and the paradigms within my family grouping, within the generations and the ancestry and the children who are coming after me and the elders who have come before me? And how can I express my own unique sense of that while still honoring them without the fight back that either I'm better than them, or that I can't quite get as good as them, this kind of thing, or I'm judging them. A lot of times we feel judged by our family. Family is a wonderful mirror for our deeper internal work. And many times we feel very judged by our family. But one of the fun things that you can do, and I say fun, even though it may not always be fun, but you can bring a sense of fun and play into it, is where am I judging them by their judgment of me? By thinking that I'm seeing in them judgment of me. Because whenever we are feeling judged by another, there is a part of us that is also sitting in judgment of ourselves and of the situation that we find ourselves in. And that's very egoic energy. It keeps us in that eddy of suffering, that things aren't exactly how they're meant to be, or that things should have been better with my family, or they're supposed to love me unconditionally. Well, that's the ideal, of course, but we all suffer from the human condition, which is that egoic thought structures, the woundings of the inner child, and those feelings that arise of sadness, of depression, of anger, of resistance. So, yes, it's ideal that we have family that loves us unconditionally, but, we're all human, and there's limitations many times through our experience as humans. So it's something to think about. When I say that you are, I want to be as clear as I can be about this idea that when you are feeling judged, especially by family, it's an opportunity to turn the mirror back onto yourself and say, where am I judging them? They should have loved me unconditionally. They shouldn't be so racist, maybe. Or they shouldn't be so liberal. Right? There's that judgment. And what does that say about me if I come from a family like that? Judgment, judgment, judgment all around. Judgment on self, judgment on them, and really all you're wanting is to be loved, right? And yet you are resisting love, receiving love, because you are sitting in judgment of others and judgment of the situation and judgment ultimately of yourself for not being a better daughter, better son, better father, better grandparent, whatever it may be. So it's a very familiar cycling of the egoic thought structure and patterning within your own family. But there's transformation here. We have this beautiful, beautiful snake here, winding its way through the generations, but ultimately transforming. There's a beautiful energy here around transformation, but you have to be open to it. And so when you find yourself this week, as the ego comes in, however it comes in for you, you may feel the sense of panic or fear or anger or sadness arising within you, and then that's connecting to the thought structures. There's an alignment there with your thought structure, and then you go into, yes, this is the way it is, this is the way it always has been, this is the way it always will be. Sometimes we can even feel pulled down or entrapped by our ancestors, our legacy, our family, or the generational karma, if you will, that we find ourselves in. But you can always transcend that in the moment with, how is this for me? How can I express my own individual essence, my own light in this moment by maybe allowing that they do love me in the way that they can, that I am loving me more. And as you love yourself more with less self-judgment, again, self-judgment of the situation, should have been different, they should have been different. That's all self-judgment. And also self-judgment of, I'm supposed to have overcome this already. How is it I find myself, once again, being so triggered by my sibling, by what my great-great-grandparent did? Again, this may also be that there is an inflationary aspect to the egoic energy this week. My family, and this idea that we're all that kind of thing. It's the same energy, just a different aspect of it. So watch where it comes in, and if you find yourself being like, yes, but my family does whatever, or in our family we don't do that, that you can even say, okay, wow, where am I lumping myself into a family expectation or a family's persona that can be shifted a bit and looked at in a lighter, more elastic way. So there's a lot there. Whenever I get the generations card, the ancestors card, it goes deep and it goes windy, you know, and there's a lot there. But remember, you can transcend it, whatever the ego may be trying to distract you with, in the moment, with your self-love, with your openness, with your allowance. That, okay, I'm not enjoying this experience with my family or with these memories, right? Going into the past. You know, the ego will pull us into the past. And you can transcend that by coming as quickly as you can to the present moment. Breathing deep into your belly, you know. As best you can. Grounding yourself in the present moment. Casting your gaze around. Pulling yourself into the present moment when you can. Each and every time you're able to be conscious that you have dived down into the egoic energy and you come back up into the fresh air, each and every time that you're conscious of that, you begin to shift the energy in the long term. It's not even so much about how well you do it, it's about the consistency of it on a daily basis, as often as you can, for even just a second. You know, each and every time you bring consciousness into this idea that you are not your thoughts, you are not you don't identify with where the ego wants to take you. You begin to shift this energy in ways that compound upon itself. Okay, and what we can expect to look forward to regardless is the rainbow, the blessings. Much lighter energy. You can even see this is so deeply rooted, and there's so many people involved. You know, you see all those hands, right? And here we are with greater consciousness. We're up in the ethers, you know. We're seeing things more clearly. Sometimes it's fun to imagine that you are looking upon your life, or your family in this case, your ancestral doctrines and stories and paradigms from a very high place, you know, like you're on a mountaintop and you're looking down into the valley of what has felt like it is the story of your life, and you can see, you know, how small it all is and how extremely malleable it actually is. But when we're in it, it feels very stone-like and very thick and difficult to navigate many times. So something to play with and think about. Now under the deck we do have the submerged iceberg here. So things that have long been kind of under the surface are beginning to bubble up here. And this is good. It may not always feel pleasant as the egoic energies come in, but as often as you can, whenever you can, come back to the heart, come back to the present moment. I'm very tactile, so I always like to encourage people to, you know, feel fabric, or, you know, a scarf in this case, you know, oh, that feels soft, you know, I like that. Even distracting the mind to the present moment with something that is a sensory experience can be beneficial in the beginning, you know. If you have trouble getting out of your mind, or, you know, you find yourself just doing that. Sometimes just snapping your fingers too, like, oh yeah, okay, oh, this is pretty. It's sunny today, and there are trees, and the wind is blowing, you know, and you're out of the ego, and then you pop back in, and you, okay, here I am again. Oh yeah, I'm right here. I'm in the present moment, and that truly is helping you to transcend many of these older patterns just by being present in the moment, without actually having to try to transcend them. You know, you know what I mean. At least I think you do. Let me see if I can say that differently. We have this idea sometimes that in order to transcend something, it requires a lot of work and study. But truly, you can transcend the egoic energy in the moment with your presence, in the moment, in the present moment. And as you do this, as I mentioned, it's a compounding energy. And then you spend less time with the suffering and more time in this energy that's lighter, more expansive, more open. you can be more curious and enthralled with the colors and the sensations all around you. Something to think about. Anyway, I wish you much love for the week, and I will see you either at your private appointment or on the audio podcast or on the next video. Much love to you.